Hey, this is Paul, and I get the question quite often is why do I grow dragon fruit in pots? And I understand most of the world doesn't grow dragon fruit in pots, but there's several benefits. There are some negatives. The first negatives I could think about is the added cost and the fact that your nutrients and fertilizers are going to wash out. But the main reason why I grow my dragon fruit in pots is not what you think. It's actually right here, pocket gophers. So we have such a bad gopher problem. I've killed over 200 gophers here since 2009 when we moved in, and they just come back every year. In fact, you can see our soil's hard and we have gophers here right now. So what I've done is I drilled small holes in our pots, so actually our roots come out and chase the nutrients and fertilizers, and the gophers love the dragon fruit roots. It's like candy to them, so they eat the roots, but they can't get inside the pots. So I am going to trial some in non-pots down here. That's hopefully going to happen this season, and I will have to build a cage so that the gophers can't get in. So the number one reason why I grow in my dragon fruit in pots is because of the gophers. Now, a second reason that I've actually learned as I've grown these now for 6 years is that the dragons in the black pots actually wake up sooner than using terracotta pots or being in the soil. And I think that has to do with the temperature. In other words, the outer part of this pot is so hot right now with the sun, it's hot to the touch. In fact, it probably burns the roots right on the inside. But right now, it's on the inside of the pot, it's tolerable. I can touch it versus the outside. Now, you are going to get some root burn on the outer edge, but if you're using compost-free potting soil and not using fox farms like we've talked about, well, your roots are not going to be on this edge searching for oxygen. Your roots are going to be all throughout the potting soil, so the heat won't damage them. So I argue, or I should say I've observed personally, that plants in the black pots start producing new growth and new flower buds sooner than ones either in the soil or in terracotta pots.
Wouldn't you say, though, the majority of people in our area, like, Southern California, grow into pots, or do you think
Ooh, that's a good question. I know Gray Martin has pots, but it's just compost and he breaks the bottom out.
Right.
And so I would say generally, maybe in California it's close to 50-50, but I would say more people don't grow them in pots. Now, some other benefits of pots are there are less weeds, so I have better weed control. Better control for the watering, so I can monitor the water. In other words, I will drip these plants until I see water coming out.
Could also protect from like rabbits too. Like
oh yeah, rabbits can't really jump up here. They haven't yet, knock on wood. We also have ground squirrels. I have a family of ground squirrels down there that my family won't let me terminate or relocate. So pests is another thing. I can monitor for nematodes. I can check the health of the plant easier, in my opinion, and just how dry the soil is.
And change the soil easier.
Oh, change the soil. These ones, another factor is, especially if you grow in the northern hemisphere in those colder climates, you have to grow in a pot because you need your plant to be mobile. Because you might have to bring it in during the winter, like some of our Canadians friends do. I have a friend in Canada he's now had American Beauty for 2 seasons now, up in Canada.
And they got to put it in the garage.
But he has to move his plant around. He uses the right type of soil and basically cuts it back and lets it go dormant. In this case, I can't move these plants, and the trellis system I used is very permanent. But if you have a different trellis system, you can actually turn the pot. So maybe a newer branch is getting sunburned. Well, another good thing about a pot, you could actually turn the pot and rotate it. So there's a lot of benefits about growing dragon fruit in pots. There are some negatives. Again, the cost. Some people say the aesthetics. You can see they're not the most beautiful looking things. But in my case, this works really well because you can see it's a battlefield here. Look at the gophers are everywhere. And I've killed them, hundreds of them, and they still just come back.
It doesn't matter, even you can definitely mitigate your problem, but you're still going to get the neighbors who don't do anything about them, and then they're going to come over from there. And they like to breed in the spring, so if you have a bunch going on, they're just going to go somewhere.
It brings in snakes. So we found 3 snakes here this week. Luckily, no rattlesnakes so far. We've had gopher snakes and 2 king snakes.
Those would probably do some damage.
So yeah, I actually like having them here, and it's good that they're hopefully keeping the pest control down. But again, it's so nice to not have to worry about gophers destroying my plants here, at least the dragon fruit. So I hope that explains a little bit and you understand why I grow in pots. It's not the perfect optimal way, but in our case it is. So some people use it, some people don't. I'm more indifferent. I just use it out of necessity. But I look forward to trying it a different way in the future to see if it is going to be better or worse. So there you go. Give us a like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.